Later that year, Manoah's wife had a baby boy. She named him Samson, just as the angel had told him. As Samson grew older, he became big and strong. Because his mother had been told not to cut his hair grew thick and long. Here, well, as a boy, he had the long hair. And then eventually he had the long beard. I'm going to do that line again. Because his mother had been told not to cut his hair grew thick and long. Even though Samson was set apart for Yah, he didn't always obey him. One day when he was grown up, he met a beautiful Philistine woman from the village of Timnah. He said to his father, "I want to marry this girl. Get her for me." He's still kind of young. He hadn't quite, matured. Samson's parents were shocked. Yah had told the Hebrews not to marry these people or copy their ways. "Why don't you marry a Hebrew girl?" they said. "Why must you marry a Philistine? They have their own customs and gods." Samson did not listen. "Get the girl for me. I like her," he said. Little did Samson's parents know that Yah wanted this to happen to create trouble with the Philistines. It's the plan. It's all part of the plan. Long-haired, crazy, rebellious teenager, or young man. But, God worked it to good. Here we go. Together, Samson and his parents set out to meet the Philistine girl and make plans for the wedding. In those days, a wedding feast lasted 7 days, so there was plenty to organize. Because of his Nazirite vow, Samson couldn't eat or drink anything made from grapes, including raisins and wine. Suddenly, a young lion leaped out from the vines. "Roar! Roar!" roared the lion. It slashed at Samson with its sharp teeth and claws, but the Spirit of God came over Samson, and he was not afraid. Using his bare hands, he grabbed the lion and tore it into pieces like a young goat. But he kept it a secret and didn't tell his parents what he had done. A while later, Samson returned along the same path to marry his bride. When he passed the dead lion, he saw bees had made a hive inside its body. It was filled with delicious, sweet honey. He scooped the honey out of the lion and ate it all up. Again, he didn't tell anyone what he had done. Now, I've read that many times, and I've thought to myself, I love honey. And I respect bees. But different time, different dude. Samson's like, "Ugh!" So, if he tore it up, it works for him. But me, not so much. But for Samson, yes, so much. Every time I do that, I get hair in my mouth. Time to wash it down. Later that week in Timnah, the wedding celebrations began. Samson's father-in-law invited 30 young men to join them. The musicians thumped their drums, and the guests danced and ate until they were full. To pass time, Samson told them a riddle. And this is where it gets interesting. Pip thinks I can read Hebrew, so she's given me the option to, and a translation, thank you, to whoever did this, to read the Hebrew version of this line, and let's listen to it.
ויאמר להם, מהאוכל יצא מאכל, ומאז יצא מתוק. Again, ויאמר להם, מהאוכל יצא מאכל, ומאז יצא מתוק.
Okay, so that's an option for me to do. ויאמר להם, מהאוכל יצא מאכל, ומאז יצא מתוק, which meant, out of the eater came food, out of the strong came sweetness. ויאמר להם, מהאוכל יצא מאכל, ומאז יצא מתוק, which meant, out of the eater came food, which meant, out of the eater came food. Out of the strong came sweetness. "If you can solve the riddle," said Samson, "I will give you 30 sets of fine clothes. If you cannot solve it, you must give me 30 sets of clothing. For 3 days, the young men tried to solve the riddle, but no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't find the answer. Glaring at Samson's bride, they said, "This Israelite is making us look like fools. Get us the answer, or we will burn down your father's house and you in it." Not very nice. They join the party and then this happens. That's just not a good attitude. Samson's frightened bride threw herself in front of him. "You must give me the answer to the riddle," she cried. Samson's answer was no. But after a few days, Samson's ears grew tired of listening to her cry. He gave her the answer, and in turn, she told the wedding guests. I'm not going to say nagging, but it's right there. The guests laughed all evening at their good fortune. They went to Samson and said, "What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion?" Actually, that's kind of the Jeopardy way to do it, so we'll go back and do that. Do, 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 do. The guests laughed all evening at their good fortune. They went to Samson and said, "What is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion?" Samson's eyes blazed with anger. He knew he had been tricked. He knew he had been tricked. "If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't know the answer to my riddle," he thundered. The Spirit of God came over Samson again. Flexing his bulging muscles, he marched to a nearby town, killed 30 Philistines, and gave their clothes to the wedding guests. Then he strode back home without his bride. Samson's battle with the Philistines had begun.